everyone, welcome to Art of the Unquiet Grave. I'm Ash, and today I'm back with another spooky Halloween DIY for you. Although this one's going to be a little different from my typical style. I tend to like Victorian, spooky, elegant sort of pieces, but today's going to be a little bit more fun, a little more creepy cute, if you will. And that's because today's video was actually a request from one of my subscribers. So thank you so much for that. It was fun to do something a little bit outside of my normal wheelhouse. Of course, it's still spooky, but it's a little more cutesy than my typical MO. So it was a lot of fun, and I hope you'll enjoy it too. So today what we'll be making is this little guy here, a pet ghost, if you will. He was inspired by Pottery Barn's Ghost in a Cloche. So one of my subscribers desperately wanted Pottery Barn's Ghost in a Cloche, but if you're unfamiliar, they sold out really quickly this year, and then the Halloween scalpers all came in and marked them up to like exorbitant prices. So I got a request to do my interpretation of that Ghost in a Cloche and to do it more affordably. So today we'll be using primarily Dollar Tree items, but there's things that you could source basically anywhere. So I'll go ahead and we'll jump into how we made this little guy here, and then I will see you at the end for a little wrap up.
Okay, so here's the lantern that I got from Dollar Tree's Dollar Tree Plus section, which I believe it was $5. It's just a plastic lantern with glass panes, so it was really easy to just pop the top off here. It was just held in with tension and those little brackets up top. And now there were screws on each of the four corners here, and I'm just taking a little mini screwdriver and removing all those screws. Now there's some pieces of plastic on each side here where we're removing those screws, and that's what's holding in the glass panes. So since there's such an intricate spiderweb design on the front here, we're going to take those glass panes out just to make it easier to paint instead of having to try to tape all that off. So you can see once those screws are out, those little plastic pieces and the panes just slide right out. Okay, and this is a solar candle lantern, so we're trying to keep that wiring, and we're going to remove that candle and repurpose the wiring for our ghost to make him light up. So I'm just removing the screws from the base of the candle as well, and I'm going to try to keep that wire intact while I'm doing this just to make sure I don't detach anything. And I'm removing the screws from the base of the candle as well. So there was a set of screws holding the candle to the base, and then a set of screws holding the battery component inside the candle. I'm just taking that all apart. And now I'm just going to take that screwdriver and I'm pushing it in the seam of that candle and just popping the base off. And once that's free, you can see that that wire and the light inside the candle, they just come right out. So we're going to use that light on top there to put it inside of our ghost. And now I'm just taking some folk art all-in-one satin or gloss finish paint, and I'm just going to go over the entire interior and exterior of the lantern here. I don't know if the color is really translating that well, but the original color of the lantern was like a very dark chocolatey brown, which was actually a fairly nice color, but personally I prefer when everything's black, so we're just going to remedy that situation here. Then I'm also obviously painting the top part of the lantern as well, taking special care not to paint over that solar panel at the very top. And here I'm just painting over those plastic strips that were holding the glass panes inside the lantern, just to make sure that everything has a nice uniform color, even though you won't really see them all that much. Now here I'm taking a styrofoam ball. It came in a pack of 6 that I got from Dollar Tree, and we're going to be using that for the head of our ghost, along with this Kabab Skewer. I believe I got those from Dollar Tree as well. And for our project, I'm actually using 2 skewers. We're going to nestle them inside 2 screw holes that we're no longer using inside the lantern from where we removed that candle. You can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'm just taking those kebab skewers and trying to test fit them inside those screw holes where the candle base was. And I'm trying to figure out how long I need them to be or how tall. I want the ghost situated kind of perfectly with inside that window, so I was checking to see how much length I thought I'd need once the head was on top. And so I'm just cutting it down to size here, doing another test fit, and then once I get the length I like, I'll pop in the head and the second skewer. And here I'm just breaking off the second skewer to make sure that they're both the same length, or roughly anyway. So now both of those skewers are inside of those holes inside the lantern, and now I'm just popping the head on top. You'll be able to see better in a moment what I was doing. So you can see here, I just took that wire from inside the candle with the light on top and wrapped that around one of those skewers. So here I'm just repurposing an old white shirt. You can use any white fabric that you have lying around. And I'm going to drape that over top of that styrofoam head. And I ended up using 2 layers of this fabric just to try to make that light look a little less obviously light bulb-like. And here I'm just taking some hot glue and I'm situating that light where I want it to be. So basically you just made an inverted V shape, stuck that styrofoam ball on top, and wrapped that wire around those skewers. Now I'm just reattaching the base with those 2 little screws inside the lantern. Now it's time to give him his little ghostly shroud, and this is the first layer of the fabric, and I'm trying to sort of play with the folds here and see how much fabric I need, or if I need to trim it shorter. Now a tip for you, and something that I would change if I were to do this again, because it would have been infinitely easier, but once you have the height of your ghost sorted out, I would suggest taking your fabric and spraying it with some spray starch before you put it in the lantern. It would have made the whole pleating much easier, but, you know, in hindsight, I wish I had done that. But I ended up just situating the pleats in the fabric or the folds where I wanted them to be with some hot glue, but spray starch would have been a much quicker way to go about it. So initially I had just done a test run and I painted the face of our ghost directly onto the fabric, and I thought it looked too messy and more like a kindergartner project. So just to give him some more dimension or depth while he's inside the lantern after we put the glass back in, I took some hot glue and I gave him some eyes, basically. Now I'm just painting those black. It just helps his face stand out a little bit more once you have all the other elements in. So that's what I'm doing here. And now I'm just going to do a dry brush technique over the whole lantern to bring out some of those spiderweb details and details along the base there. And I'm just using some folk art treasure gold paint in like the antique silver shade. And again, this is dry brushing, so less is more. I'm just trying to kind of hit it on all of the high points there to bring out those spiderweb details, and also to make it look more like stained glass leading. Okay, and you can see that the glass panes are back in. Most of the dry brushing highlight is done there. And so this is what we have so far. Now this was initially going to be like the finished product for me, but I still felt like it was missing some details. So I was thinking that this was going to be like a cathedral or maybe like a personal mausoleum, which would make sense for a ghost. So I'm just putting some flowers out front to make it look like someone left flowers at his mausoleum. But then after I did that, I felt like I was missing an opportunity to add some more fun details. So after I got the flowers situated, I felt like it would have been fun to do like a faux stained glass. So we're going to do that in a second here. So then I stumbled upon this in the craft store and it piqued my interest, but this is gallery glass from the brand Plaid. And I'm basically just going to fill in all of those spaces on that spiderweb detailing, like the cathedral window. And we're going to fill it in with 2 different shades of red. There's like a burgundy red and like a bright red, and then also a black. So I just kind of decided on a pattern for the colors, and here I'm just filling it in, and I'm going to do it the same on all sides. So the colors I used were, I think, ruby red, holiday berry, and then just the black shade. Now, I'll say if you use this, don't panic because it comes out very milky and very pastel. And even though I knew it was going to look different once it dried, I was having a hard time fathoming that it would appear to be the shade that it had on the swatch in the craft store. But it did actually turn out true to the swatches. But you can see it starting to dry around the edges after about a few minutes, and sort of gives you the reassurance that it's going to turn out the way that you want. And here's the finished ghost.
Okay, so that's how we made our little pet ghost here. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I love naming my projects. So if you could drop a comment down below with a name for this little guy, I would greatly appreciate it. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know that you liked it. But if this wasn't your cup of tea and you're missing our, spooky, creepier end of the spectrum, don't worry, I have you covered. Later this month, we'll be doing 2 other projects that are faux insect taxidermy. And then next month, I have a project that's a huge undertaking. pun intended, it's going to be another large scale skeleton project. So I don't want to spoil that for you, but if you liked our Siamese twin skeleton, I think you'll really like what we have coming up in October. So if you could please like this video if you liked it, comment the name for our little ghost down below, and let me know what else you'd like to see, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for all your support.